Hello YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. I'm gonna make some more videos tonight. So I haven't really talked about this subject before as much. Not really, but there's oodles of videos on YouTube regarding this subject. Uh, Animals, pets, that sort of thing. So I thought I'd let you guys know how I feel about different animals, as you know, and also animals that are maybe might consider as pets. It might go on for a bit, so it's just because I'm doing an all-in-one kind of uh, video about the subject. But there's uh, hopefully some things that you guys will benefit from this video. So the obvious first thing to talk about here are dogs, right? Um, when it comes to dogs, the more time that you want to spend with the dog, the better. Obviously, the better choice a dog is for you to have a pet. So I've had a dog before when I was growing up, and I don't think kids are generally as responsible or responsible enough to take care of a pet on their own. Um, with some exceptions, it's a not a good idea to rely on kids to take care of a pet, unless you have some exceptions to that rule. Um, but think of all the things that kids want to do. That it's all things that kids want to do, and all the times that they have to be reminded to do things they don't want to do. Is a kid gonna have a self initiative to clean up after the dog? Every time they poop, kind of thing. So I think the parents will generally take the reins with dogs, with some exceptions. But again, I think it's a bad idea to expect kids to take care of a dog unless again they're going to do that, unless they're really you see them really committed. Dogs are stinky, right? You have to anybody that owns a dog has to be okay with a certain level of stinkiness, which might not be very much. If you're talking about Chihuahuas, small dogs, a lot of times depends on the dog. There's some very hairy dogs you can take care of. They cost money, veterinarian checks, that sort of thing. So they're not cheap, but they're probably more expensive, even more expensive pets. But dogs are a little bit up there, so I think it makes more sense to me unless you live in the country or you have a lot of land in a bigger area in the suburbs. But if you live in the country, big dogs are great. In that bigger land area, the big dogs are great. But if you live in a city or a smaller area in terms of living area in terms of suburbs, small dogs are, I think, the wiser idea. Smaller dogs. That being said, my favorite breeds, of course, for dogs are Cocker Spaniels, Welsh Corgis, and of course the family dog I had growing up, Abby. She was a Cocker Dachshund mix, so Dachshunds are great too. Of course, Golden Retrievers are great. So yeah, but those are my favorites: Welsh Corgi, Cocker Spaniel, Dachshund, and Golden Retriever. There's definitely others I like a lot as well. I love. I think it's the Boston Terrier, but they're very very high energy, but they're just really fun to be around. Right? They just have, and I guess your pugs. Yeah. But yeah, dogs are great. I mean, really. I mean, yeah. A lot of people worry about some things regarding pit bulls and babies, but if you're really nice to that pit bull, I mean, I still wouldn't get one if you have young infants. It's probably a bad idea. But dogs are very sweet personality. The only dogs that are not quite as sweet sometimes are more the terrier types. Maybe more dogs are kind of geared toward guarding your house. They're not always big dogs, but there's certain dogs that are just not quite as warm and fuzzy. I guess I'll put it that way. Everybody's a little different with what they like in dogs, and some dogs are really sporty, like beagles and things. Anyway, more and all that. I could talk about dogs for hours and hours, I'm sure. So cats. Well, gosh, yeah, cats are great to have, but I'm not as big a fan of them. But they're great to have, it's nice when you go to someone's home and they have cats, because it's like different. Um, they often won't want to come up to you. You have to go to them. Even then, you need to hold out your hand and make sure they're okay. They want to be petted. Sometimes cats are just not in the mood to be petted. Sometimes they are. Cats are finicky. They're weird. Now, the exception, of course, is the Manx cat, which has no tail and is just adorable, right? They seem to act a bit more like dogs, so you'll see that. But cats are, they do some crazy things sometimes. I wouldn't get a cat. I mean, I just don't think cats in general are the greatest dogs to have as pets. They're okay. They're not bad. They do crazy things. So you have to be willing to let, yeah, you can get the stuff that makes cats want to be able to scratch stuff. Don't be surprised if you get, a cat and you have scratched up nice. If you have anything nice in the house, like nice upholstery, cushions, couches, furniture, that doesn't always work well with animals, but works better for smaller dogs than it does for cats. I mean, it just depends. I mean, like, I would go with a Manx cat in general. Just really, I mean, like, do yourself a favor, unless you really love cats. And it's also the smell and cleaning up of cats. It's about as bad as dogs. They might not have as much, frankly, fecal matter. Sorry, guys, but they probably produce as much of that stuff. But of course, it smells worse. So you need litter boxes and everything. So anyway, going on here, gerbils, hamsters, and mice. And I'm getting to pets here first. Let me get to other animals here in just a bit. I've never really had one. Friends that have one. These guys get lost so easily. They're cute to have, and they're really cheaper to have one and take care of it and everything. So I think they're really great, but they don't have quite. It's really easy for them if they get out of the cage to get lost again. So you have to be careful with that, and it's fun to feed them. It's fun to, you just have to keep an eye on them. They're really small, very delicate. They're not going to bite you, but I mean, if you're treating them nice, if you know how to hold them. But I just am not a big fan of them. I don't know. You less so than cats in a way. Lizards and iguanas. Growing up, we had a pet too, but I think it was when they're little, I get them mixed up. But you want to make sure that these guys are always warm enough, and you're giving them, bugs and other things to eat and greens, and they're great pets though. But yeah, they're reptiles, so they are very different than mammals. Personally, of course, they're not as intelligent. Well, they're more. I don't know. They're more intelligent as far as reptiles, especially you get. I've seen those videos on YouTube. There's a gentleman that has these pet iguanas that just get enormous, and yeah, they do kind of act like dogs. They love you, but they can. If they bite, it can do some damage. So and they're not poisonous or anything. You just have to watch them a little bit. You have to be careful. So I'm not a huge fan of them either. Turtles, I'm a bigger fan of those guys. But most people have more in mind the idea of the smaller turtle. There's tortoises that get enormous. I would not own tortoise unless I had a bunch of property in Australia or something. But yeah, turtles I think I'm a bit more fond of. I could see getting a pet turtle. I think they're a little bit more docile. I don't think they bite unless you're mishandling them. But you just want to take, you want to be nice to them, and you can have them for a long time. Rabbits. Also not a huge fan of rabbits, but I think it's their teeth. I don't want to be ever bitten by a rabbit. I imagine it would probably hurt much worse than getting bitten by a gerbil, hamster, or mouse. That sort of thing. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but yeah, rather go to see a rabbit at someone else's house. But they eat cheap, vegetables, that sort of thing. I've never had a pet owl. I've seen there's videos about owls in Japan, and mixed feelings. I think if you have a pet owl, you probably should live out in the country, or really have a place for the owls to go poop and fly around, and you don't want to you don't want. It doesn't want to be in a. It doesn't want to be all. Anyway, owls should have some more freedom. I think it doesn't want to be cooped up sometimes. I know. And there's the Harry Potter Trinidad too. I know. So, and they're really adorable. I also wouldn't want to get bitten by an owl, but for birds in general, I'll get to that more in a bit. I'm a little bit cautious around. It's just they're instinctive. So whether they peck or bite or whatever they do, they're not always. They're a little bit more instinctive. So I mean, like you can tell, some of these animals are most animals in general. Most animals are less domesticated than dogs. This is why dogs make the best kind of pet, as long as you're willing to pick up after the dog and pay for all that stuff. Dogs are most domesticated among most domesticated of animals. Owls are just they're birds. They're wild. They can be very nice, cuddly, and everything. But yeah, that beak is probably not something. Okay, so but again, there's definitely birds that would hurt much worse if they bit you. Getting to that, we'll get to the large birds first, then small. So with large birds, I'm not a big fan of having pet parrots. I know they're cute, and they're funny, and they're smart, and they can protect you. And there's all those YouTube videos about that. But parrots, and especially macaws. Oh man, that macaw bite. If it bites someone, it can chop your nose right off. I mean that thing can do some damage. And there's other larger birds that I would never have as pets. It's unthinkable. I mean, it's great. There's also videos of YouTube about eagles, right? That just come by someone's home. Other birds. The crows are smaller, so it's different. But for big birds like eagles and falcons and things, I mean, wow. I would treat that thing like, even though it wasn't that big, like a larger animal, and be very. Okay, can I come up to you? Okay, you know, that beak, man, that beak can do some damage. I love eagles, though. I love them. But yeah, just be very nice to it and, calm, of course. But yeah, birds are a little bit more skittish because they're smaller. I mean, smaller bones, so they're gonna be sometimes. Depending on the bird, they're gonna be more prone to peck you and stuff. Get to other kinds of birds here. I mean, there's all kinds. So there's canaries. I might be okay with a smaller bird personally. Like a canary would be perfect. Just have to clean up after it, which is not so fun. But it's brightly colored and it's fun, and when it sees you, it chirps and it's really happy. And you want to let it out though sometimes, and make sure it can go back in its cage. Even small birds need some of that letting out time, But I mean, canaries probably less likely to. Those small birds are not gonna, And I don't know about cardinals, but I like the brightly colored birds that you can have as pets. That again, you let out once in a while and they come back to you, or you don't have to necessarily have to pay for it. If you do, great. But it's great if you can have birds that come to your home and that like your home. You put a bird feeder, bird box, or whatever, nectar, whatever it is. Anything from hummingbirds to cardinals. If you live in the Midwest, but you have these birds that come by and you can come out. And I mean, there are people that, birds love peaceful, nice, quiet, calm. I think it's almost impossible, though, if you can actually hold a bird, unless it's a pet bird, And again, there's a lot of birds that are very colorful, that are a lot more wild by temperament. So, I mean, but I like small birds. I don't really like big birds with huge beaks. Not a big fan of those guys. Some exceptions, but yeah. So ducks. My grandparents, my mom's parents had some ducks in Provo, Utah, and they're cute and all when you're feeding them bread, and they're just ducks that are wild ducks out of the pond. But ducks are instinctive, and so sometimes what they'll do, the things that they'll do, are of a more instinctive nature, and that can be a lot of things. That can be a lot of things. They're birds. They're bird brains. I'm not saying that they're gonna hurt you, but they're ducks. But they're gonna, they're just more wild. So yeah, no, I don't know. That's my grandparents, and they love their ducks. So Anyway, so okay. No, fish are great. I mean, I have never owned. Um, I think fish are among the cheapest kinds of things to have. You have an aquarium is great. Every so often you have to clean it out. I think in terms of cost, yeah, aquarium is great for people in apartments and things. If apartment guy in charge is okay with a fish tank, because he's probably the person in charge. If you're renting, or the person, a lot of landlords won't accept anything outside of fish. And even fish sometimes are pushing a little bit. But yeah. Some animals, no way. They accepted some of this. Now, I'm not going to go into all of animals, how I feel about all animals, but I've been to zoos, many times before, and so this are kind of some of my feelings about some of the animals that just more people are more familiar with, I think, in general. I watch my fingers around horses and cows. Well, it's horses. I do like horses, but I've had to kind of, I think for large animals, if you're smaller when I was younger, I was more like whoa boy, it's big animal. But horses are, in my opinion, horses have a very similar personality to dogs. Horses and dogs very much in the same range of personalities, I think, in dispositions and things. When dogs get scared, same thing with horses. And it's just that with horses, they're a lot bigger. So if a horse gets spooked, it could be dangerous. If you're, if you're, it doesn't, as obviously the horse doesn't mean to hurt anybody. Just that horses can be sensitive emotionally. Horses love it when they're around a kind person, obviously, and they can sense if someone's not so great as well. So they're more sensitive, more intelligent kind of quality about them. I love horses though; they're great. I'm not maybe the biggest horse fan, but yeah, they're up there. And cows, I don't know. I'm sure they're more intelligent than we realize sometimes, but I haven't been around them as much. And they smell. And I know. Anyway, my dad grew up on a farm, so he's told me some things. With sheep, yeah, I'm a bigger fan of sheep actually myself. They're extremely trusting, and I remember when I was on my church mission, 2-year church mission a while back when I was in my early 20s. I mean, there was a Navajo family. There are lots of, actually, a lot of Navajo folks on the reservation have their sheep. They have some sheep that they just have for extra income and that sort of thing. But yeah, I helped out a gentleman with his sheep one time, and yeah, I mean, it's so funny. You see the ram. He's you need to respect the dad. The ram, as long as the dad's doing okay, and you can tell, anyway. It's the baby sheep. If they like you, they will follow you, just like Mary Had a Lamb. They will follow you wherever you want to go. I mean, they're very, very sweet and very nice. So cuddling the baby sheep is just awesome. It's like they're like dogs that way, but even more trust. Yeah. So I think sheep are among more domesticated kind of animals, and they're again, I like. They have very sweet dispositions, I think. But to have them as pets, no. But if you have a farm, obviously, yeah. Now goats, on the other hand, I'm not a huge fan of. It'd be fun having a pet goat, really. It would be fun. But yeah, they can hurt. They can. They have those horns. They can hit you. So they gotta be careful. So, especially. So yeah, goats. And I know there's all of the other animals, like in South America. Some are more like camels. You have the llama and the alpaca, and I haven't been around those as much. Maybe seen one of them in the zoo. I imagine I could get more used to them if I live in South America at some point. But anyway, so getting to all the other barnyard animals, geese are fine. I kind of see geese as just a more dangerous form of a duck. They're bigger. They can do damage if you're not ready for them. I mean, geese are like ducks are kind of territorial, or they're protective of their young. But yeah, it's easy to understand them because of their size. But if they're angry, they can get really aggressive. It goes without saying that other birds can be that same way. I don't mess with some. If I ever was around an ostrich, the zoo, especially out if I go into Africa at some point, I do not mess with ostriches. Like I keep my distance way, way, way. I don't mess with them at all. Never take an ostrich egg. I just don't mess with them. They're big enough. I know they could kill me very easily. Yeah. They're birds. They don't fly. I mean, it's like penguins are like that too. But I mean, ostriches are in a league of their own. I mean, they really are. Those guys are. Yeah. So anyway, without going too much farther here, I mentioned a few other animals, more in the mammal arena. And I know I mentioned maybe this before, but I'm not a huge fan of bees. Of course, spiders don't scare me as much, but no. Yeah, I would not have a pet tarantula. I know there's people that have those kinds. I just don't go there. I don't go there. No, 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 no. Snakes, no way. No way. No way in the world. No. No, no, no. You can. Same thing with alligators, obviously. Bears, I think are really cool. Just keep my distance from them. I wish they were more docile. I've seen like in the bear movies on YouTube, their bears are nicer, but I just don't go there either. No way. Wolves, I would treat similarly to bears, but it just depends. I mean, a wolf can be friendlier. It's more likely that they'll, if they're just by themselves, if you feed them and they kind of come to trust you, then you're okay. But wolves are, of course, more wild, so if they are hungry or if they don't like you, they're going to go for your throat, and that's it. So wolf can go either way for me, I think. Foxes, of course, I'm a bit more okay with. I think you guys have seen some of the fox videos on YouTube. They're great. Just great. Just great. What was his name? Ron. That's right. I still remember Ron. But yeah, I think with foxes, you kind of really, to feed them like that, the one that one gentleman did, you really have to, love them. Feeding them meat and stuff like that. But you can't really I guess you can have a pet fox, but at some point you have to let them. If you live by a forest, that's ideal. I think it makes no sense at all to have a pet fox if you don't live near a big open area, rural country, forest area. That fox to go, and that fox is going to always be, if it likes you, it's always going to be part domesticated, part wild, and mostly wild. It's going to know you, it's going to love you, but it's still a fox, right? It's different. Anyway, so I can mention all kinds of other animals, of course, and if you guys want to see another video, just just kind of my thoughts about other animals as well, you can leave me a comment or thought below. Hopefully you guys like this video. I'm sure I forgot all kinds of things, but also I should mention, check out Brave Wilderness. It's a great YouTube channel put on by Coyote Peterson, and it goes over more of the creepy crawlies, all kinds of animals, everything, more sea animals as well, starfish, as well as all the insects and porcupines and all kinds of stuff. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks. Bye.